Now, Russia and Ukraine have agreed a 3-day ceasefire from tomorrow Saturday until Monday, the 11th of May. The ceasefire and prisoner swap were announced by US President Donald Trump and later confirmed by both sides. Ukraine's President Zelenskyy said his country would not target Russia's May 9th Victory Day celebrations, marking the end of World War II. Russia had already planned to slim down its usual parade following several Ukrainian drone strikes.
Putin's main patriotic event is under threat and being scaled down as a result.
The Kiev regime, which is losing ground on the battlefield, has now fully turned to terrorist activity.
Look at how Russia usually celebrates its annual military parade.
Happy Great Victory Day!
Military hardware on display, the pride of Russia's army, foreign leaders in the stands like China's Xi Jinping last year. The guest list itself was always a way for Russia to show off its foreign policy reach. But this year is different. No heavy military equipment, a shorter list of foreign leaders, no huge crowds on the streets.
Against the backdrop of the terrorist threat, measures are being taken to minimize the danger.
The reason? An unprecedented scale of Ukrainian drone attacks. This graph shows how sharply the number has risen inside Russia. Drones now reach thousands of kilometers from the front line, potentially threatening the parade and the president himself. According to a report by a European intelligence agency cited by several media outlets, Vladimir Putin fears not only Ukrainian drones, but that members of his own circle could target him. In these satellite images, you can see 27 air defense systems installed around Putin's residence in the countryside. That's twice as many as last year.
Putin's desire to distance himself from society is not only connected to fear. He is also no longer the president of hope. He is no longer everyone's favorite.
But ditching this year's victory parade wasn't an option.
The Kremlin couldn't cancel the parade because that would look like a sign of weakness. So instead, they are holding it in a shortened format. Because even if there is no actual strike, just an alert that forces Putin to leave his stand, it would still be a blow to his personal image.
The war is also becoming harder for ordinary Russians to ignore. Many are unhappy the parade is going ahead at all, and question the Kremlin's move to shut down mobile internet for security reasons.
Name me one objective reason why the internet isn't working. How does blocking it help protect the city and the country?
Why hold the parade at all? You shut down the internet across the entire city, the country's capital, cut off millions of people, paralyze businesses, and still the parade has to go ahead.
Polls show Russia's war itself is becoming more unpopular too, with almost 7 out of 10 people saying they want peace talks with Ukraine. It's unlikely Putin will listen to them, but the Kremlin's increased focus on security suggests the president isn't feeling as confident as before.
Let's explore this with Leon Aron. He's a writer and expert on Russian domestic and foreign politics. His most recent book is Riding the Tiger, Vladimir Putin's Russia and the Uses of War. Welcome to DW. Let's start with that announcement and confirmation of a ceasefire. Was a prisoner swap originally on the cards, or was that Russia trying to sweeten the pot, as it were?
Well, it's for both Ukraine and Russia. The 9th of May or the Victory Day has a potential symbolic meaning, and I think it's only normal that that the prisoner exchange is going to take place on that day. What's interesting, of course, is that while the parade is being pretty much scaled down, both countries are going to go ahead with the prisoner exchange.
Okay, and where are you on this discussion of whether or not Vladimir Putin is running scared, or is that just wishful thinking on lots of people's parts?
Yes, I think it's mostly wishful thinking. I think one of the reasons for this pretty pitiful format of the parade. For the first time, no tanks. The guests are essentially all from Russian protectorates or other dependencies. And 3 countries are not even recognized by anybody. Very pitiful. Is to convey to the Russian people that the situation is tough, that he is making, even if symbolic sacrifices, and they should tighten their belts as well. I think that is the message of this parade. I don't think he's running scared, but I think with the sagging economy and the seemingly endless war, for the first time, we saw his numbers going down, and that is with all the biases that polling in an authoritarian society have.
I mean, I think you tell me, but doesn't that tell us quite a lot? If Vladimir Putin, whose Russia is not officially at war with anyone, if he has to signal to his people, well, actually things are pretty bad at the moment, that sounds like a shift in tone, if not in substance.
Well, I agree completely. So there were rumors that Putin doesn't know, that he is so isolated, either biologically because of his age and mental capacity, or because his advisors are not telling him. I think with this parade, he felt he had a dilemma. Either he conveys this the severity of the situation to the people symbolically by scaling down the parade, or he goes ahead with the parade as if nothing is going on. And I think, frankly, politically, he made the right decision.
And what do you make of this so far unverified report, supposedly from a European intelligence agency, that the Russian president is also fearful of attacks from within his own circle?
Look, this is a par for the course for any dictator. They wake up every day trying to figure out who and how could do something to them. The problem is, certainly in the Russian experience or the Soviet experience, that they never get it right. Stalin never would have thought of Nikita Khrushchev as dismantling, at least in part, his legacy. And of course, Khrushchev appointed Leonid Brezhnev as his, symbolic top advisor or symbolic head of the Supreme Soviet, thinking that he's non-entity and nothing, there's no danger coming from him. Well, both of them were pretty active in dismantling their predecessors' legacy. So yes, he's thinking about it, but no, I don't think we could ever identify the actual plotter or the actual head of a potential plot.
Okay, so just to explore this notion of business as usual, you don't give any particular credence then to these reports of this Western intelligence report that all this is going on, because as far as you're concerned, this is always going on.
Yes, and I've been following Russia for quite a while, and I still remember that those rumors accompanied virtually every Russian leader, every Soviet leader, Brezhnev, Andropov, Gorbachev. There's always a rumor in the background of a potential plot. They take care of themselves pretty well. The only problem is whether those around them at some point begin to doubt their ability to lead, whether it leads to an actual plot or whether they're simply going to wait for that person to succumb to natural causes is a big question.
Good talking to you. Fascinating analysis, and we thank you for it. Leon Aron.
I'm now joined by former Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Kasyanov. He held office from 2000 to 2004, while Vladimir Putin was in his first term as president. He also worked in Boris Yeltsin's administration. Mr. Kasyanov lives in exile. He's on the list of designated extremists and terrorists in Russia. Welcome to DW News, Mr. Kasyanov. So there have been reports in Western media that Vladimir Putin has grown increasingly paranoid about his security, that he fears being targeted by members of his own inner circle. Just how real, from your perspective, is the threat of an assassination or a coup against him?
There is no actual real threat, but of course, It is absolutely evident that Putin increases his security system so that to be absolutely sure that no one and nothing could happen. And that is because of overall problems, growing problems. He has problems in the society. Finally, just the whole attitude to the war and to Putin's regime started to change. And we have a sociological poll of Levada Center, which is difficult, of course, to have sociological poll in such an atmosphere in Russia, what Putin created. But still, that the sociological poll shows that already 62% of Russians would like to stop the war and switch to negotiations. That is absolutely the important signal that society already fed up of all this of the war and all this squeezing of whole environment, political environment, public environment in Russia. That's why the changes really started, and I think this is the Victory Day. That always was a sacred date for Mr. Putin, and he played a lot on this. And now just the parade, that was an important signal for the whole world in his speech. And we will have to listen tomorrow what Mr. Putin would say. I think there would be some kind of couple of notes, which I believe will hear, that he will be dreaming about ending the war soon. But of course, he was on his conditions. But in any case, the situation moves and changes.
And I'm interested to hear what you would be listening out for when he gives that Victory Day Parade speech. What would be the telling sign to you that perhaps he is really considering ways to end the war quickly? As you say, it's a very unpopular war with the Russian public.
He will continue saying the same thing, that we wanted to bring freedom to Russian-speaking population. We promised to them to liberate them, and we achieved this. All goals of the so-called special military operation achieved, and that's what we would like to end. And the whole world is listening and watching on this, and this Ukrainian regime is always awful. That will be continued to think, but. In fact, the problem is that the internal growing, I would say, I wouldn't say dissent, but the disagreement with this war and growing economic problems, that's what move Putin to some sort of consideration, definitely. And
on that point, then, how much longer can he sustain this war? From your intel inside Russia, just how much longer can they continue with this aggression, given the Ukrainians are also being very effective with these drone attacks?
That absolutely. Ukraine's just developed absolutely great system, and they already have an advantage in the drone attacks and on all ranges. But answering your question, we have to understand the main point right now. It should be that it's transatlantic unity. There should be equal understanding what this war is about. Because in Europe, all European leaders understand that there is an aggressor and there is a victim. But while we see just President Trump and his administration, they believe that it's two sides just they both guilty. They just have a dispute. They hate each other, and they should step down just with the concessions. Why Ukraine should give a concession? That's the problem. There is no equal understanding. There should be unity, coordinated efforts to pressing of Putin regime. And right now, when we have oil price again up more than $100 per barrel, and overage on the first quarter, and for Russian euros, that already was 95. While just the budget expected 59, that's already double. That's already increase of foreign exchange inflow into the country, which helps Putin to finance the war. That is the problem, and that was prolonged just expectation of the end of the war.
Well, thank you very much for those insights. That's Russia's former Prime Minister, Mikhail Kasyanov. We appreciate your time on DW. Thank you.